think it's time for another video. So I know I said in the last video it was going to be a Speeduino full review, but I have been working on something else in the meanwhile, and wanted to show it off. So I have been working on this. It's a 3D printed intake runner setup for a Vortec 4200. You can see it kind of snaps together, not really snaps together, but overlaps with the other segments of the intake, and that's basically how it's set up to look. Uses O-rings to seal it, and then I have little captive nuts, nylocks that go in there, and that'll hold everything together. It also uses the factory intake manifold gasket. So I'm pretty excited to see how this works out. You can see this just lays in here like this, just like it does on the factory intake manifold. And I mean, one of the big struggles that I think people have with this engine is intake manifold. So the factory intake manifold, it's oriented about like this, but it comes up and over the engine, and it makes the engine even taller. If it wasn't tall before, it's even taller with this. So those of you that have seen my other intake manifold, the aluminum one that I made out of sheet metal, you'll notice it was oriented sort of like this one is, but that's really hard to duplicate. So what I've been thinking about possibly marketing and selling these for others who want to do a Vortec 4200 swap, but I was originally going to, sell it as a runner kit and then you make your own plenum. But then I discovered this guy. So this is a intake manifold plenum for a 2JZ, and you'll notice it's about the right shape and size. Now what's unfortunate is I've already printed these runners, and if I had it to do over again, I would literally just make it so you can bolt right up to this pattern, and then you can purchase this plenum and bolt it to my runners, and then you have yourself an intake. Unfortunately, I discovered this plenum after I had already printed this, so I'm gonna have to go back and rework it, but that is the goal. That is the long-term strategy. For my own use, just for testing, I don't want to waste all this time and material on the printer, so I'm essentially going to make myself a little adapter plate and probably just mill all this junk out of here, and then make a flat surface and bolt the whole deal together and make it so that I can at least bolt this on the car, see if aluminum intake manifold runners can even take positive pressure and stand up to the heat, and basically test it on my junk before I sell it to somebody else, and they can try it on theirs. So we're gonna give it a go. So today my goal is to make a flange that bolts to this pattern here, and then we'll make a bunch of modifications to this plenum so that we can bolt the whole thing together. So thought you guys would think that was pretty cool. So yeah, it uses the factory intake bolts as well. I don't have any here, but you can imagine. So I think it's a pretty slick setup. Pretty happy with how it came out overall. Yeah, so let's get to work on the old Bridgeport.
Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, drink to the foam until we meet once.
Alright guys, well, I think unfortunately this is a pretty good proof of concept, but I don't think it's going to work out. So the issue I was having, basically what I was thinking of doing was I was going to take this and mill this flat to right on this surface, and then make a bunch of bolt holes and, you know, make a whole bunch of bolt holes in this plate and make a whole bunch of bolt holes in this plate and basically bolt the two together. But I don't think it's going to work out. This spacing here is almost as wide as this spacing here, so you're not going to have any kind of flange for the intake to seal, and I was not planning to weld it to this, so I think my final design is going to use this flange. So I'm thinking we might be going back to the drawing board and redesigning the runners and reprinting the runners because I don't think this one's going to work out. Another thing that I'm noticing is you can kind of see it there. Here, let me see if I can get this. Yeah, see how it's kind of separated there? And you can see it's starting to, the layers are starting to split just a little bit, just because I don't think I made my O-ring groove deep enough. So I just don't have a good feeling about this intake at the moment. So I think it's back to the drawing board, unfortunately, which sucks, but hey, it's the way it goes. So we're gonna print out another set of runners and make them match up to the 2JZ intake manifold. And my plan is to cut this guy off here and weld a LS style 4-bolt throttle plate, Gen 4 LS, kind of like this guy. Basically weld one of those flanges on so that I can use one of those. And man, this sucks, but hey, that's just the way it is. So I'm gonna cut the video off at that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and made the mill a mess, all a mess for no reason. So, all right, catch you guys.